Jay Gurudev, and welcome to another Mirrors Work podcast. Today I'm going to be speaking to Rishika Hiranmayi, and she is located in Sri Giridhar Dham in India, in the ashram there. And I'm going to be speaking to her about her journey with the Mirrors Work. She is from South Africa originally, and I met her around 20 years ago when she was still very much on her spiritual journey, trying to figure out what she needed to do to live more fully in her truth. And then a few years later, we had a lot of talks surrounding the mirror's work and how she needed to think about her life with Guruji and whether or not she was going to become brahmachari. I don't think there was any doubt about it, but there were quite a few questions in her mind that she needed to resolve. And today she's going to be talking to us about that journey and about some of the real struggles that she's had lately and how she views life through the mirror's work and how that helps her to really come to terms with who she is and all the ideas about herself that she needs to let go of. So I'm going to let her tell her story. So let's go over there and talk to Rishika Hiranmayi. So, Jay Gurudev Hiranmayi, so wonderful to have you here to talk about the mirror's work today. So,
Nice
yeah,
to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
what we really want to know today is about your journey with Guruji and what how the mirror's work has helped you to navigate that journey as
Mm,
well. Because as you know, the mirror's work is a very important plays a very important role in helping people to embody Guruji's teachings, and and it plays a very important role as well in helping us to really deal with the challenges of commitment as well. So, and first of all, I also want to just say congratulations for becoming a rishi, and please share with us, your journey from brahmachari to rishi.
mm,
And I know that you've had some parts of that which have been difficult. It always is when we're with Guruji,
mm.
and please share how the mirror's work also helped you to overcome some of the challenges that you've had. So
Mm. All
fire
right.
away.
Figure
Here,
Dev.
tell us how
So,
it started.
um, so I met Guruji in 2003. And and at the time, I remember one of my first interactions with him. Um, he came to my parents' house, and Swami Prantapa was already around, and he was doing like these private kind of interviews. And I remember something that he said to me. He said to me, it was just me and him. And he said to me, I was complaining to him about the terrible karma that I have because I was really unhappy. At this point in my life, I was 22. I was really beautiful. I was talented. I was smart. I had lots of friends. I was always popular. And I had an amazing family. I still have an amazing family. And I was deeply unhappy inside of myself. And I didn't know it was like this deep, empty pit inside of me that was always there. And I didn't know how to get rid of this pit. It was like I used to smoke it away, drink it away, eat it away. I basically did everything I possibly could to get rid of this from everything from the outside. Um, and of course, it didn't work, but I tried very hard for many, many years. I don't give up that easily.
Yes, I
So,
think I think we're all very familiar with that hole. When I was younger, I used to call it a hole in the soul.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I I really went for it in every possible way for many, many years, even after meeting Guruji. And so in this interaction with him, I tell him, I don't know what to do with myself. I see myself in a certain way and I'm so unhappy. And he looked at me and he said to me, but the only thing that you have to do is be happy. You have everything. Like he was like, you don't have karma, you don't have anything. You're just here to be happy. Just be yourself. And I said to him, I don't know how to. I don't know how to be happy. And he just like tapped me on my head, like, don't worry about it. And I told him about these patterns that I had inside of me. At this point, I had eating disorders. I used to binge eat, things like that.
Hmm.
And I told him about it, and he just tapped me and he said to me, you're so beautiful, is what he said. And then he said, stop looking at magazines, because I used to compare myself to everybody continuously.
Hmm.
And I was also doing things like acting, modeling, all of that stuff on the outside. I was heavily into that kind of stuff, which didn't really help me. And now, what am I, 24 years later, something like that? What has changed is I found this happiness inside of me. I
Hmm.
found this happiness inside of me. It's not, it's got nothing to do with the outside. It's irrelevant of what happens in the outside. For example, right now, yesterday, I have no bathroom. I haven't had one for 2 weeks because the plumbing has gone mad. We don't have a kitchen, so we're literally washing dishes in the bathroom. We're all sharing together. There's mad construction over there. It's 24/7. People on me, noises, so many things going on, like absolute chaos. And very firmly inside of myself, I feel that Guruji has established a happiness that is there and that I can easily tap into. And if my mind moves a little bit, I notice the feelings, and it's very easy for me to come back. I can see my thoughts, which I couldn't do before. So in terms of the work that has been done and the mirrors work and the work that has been done on myself, it's been massive, we'll say, the work that he's done on me.
Yes.
For when we were saying earlier how we met with Swami Prantapa, I lived with Swami Prantapa for 4 years before when I got back from America. I stayed in South Africa for a little bit, and me and Swami Prantapa and Upendra, my ex, we lived together. And of course, then Swami Prantapa already started to bring up many things that were inside of me. And I think he told me to contact you because I started to become aware of these patterns. And I remember your first Mirrors workbook where there was that story on the front cover that was all this old rotting furniture. And
Yes.
all of these
Yes.
old, you see how it's stuck in my mind. All of these old thoughts and belief systems that if you don't investigate, it starts stinking and rotting
Yes.
inside of us. And how is it possible to have a reality that is beautiful? How is it possible to have a mind that is clean? It is
Yes.
not if these are unexamined. And these rotting belief systems, this broken furniture. The thing is that Guruji made me walk it physically by being here in India. When of course, I had to do a lot of work in order to get here. I think if I didn't do the work with Swami Parantapa and live with him to a certain degree, I never would have been able to handle living here because
Yeah.
it's not a simple thing.
Yeah. Can you just backtrack a little bit, just for the sake of the viewer, and tell us a little bit about what you feel the mirror's work is? What is the mirror's work in your words? Just so that they
So,
can understand your journey.
yeah, so the mirror's work is that it's very easy to live our life and to blame other people or circumstances for our own unhappiness.
Hmm.
And it happens continuously all the time. We have so many reasons to be unhappy. And more than that, then we have so many reasons to dislike each other or not to get on with people or to have relationship issues. I give you an example. My parents, one reason, my mom, I mean, she brought me up kind of knowing that there's nobody else to blame for anyone's issues other than oneself, right? She brought me
Yes.
up already with this ideology inside of me. So it was never really foreign for me.
It wasn't a
And
big leap for you, in other
no,
words.
no, she was already, my mom was already fully searching and into this kind of stuff when she had me pretty late. So it was a different upbringing to my brother and my sister. So for me, that was already there. But then to really put it into action and to
Mm.
start living that and essentially not blame anybody for my own unhappiness is a completely different thing because we all want to. It's our job. If I had a better job, I'd be happy. If I had a better boss, I'd be happy. Oh, if I had another boyfriend, I would be happy. If I had a better husband, I would be happy. If I had a child, I would be happy. If I was thinner, I would be happy. If I was on a better diet, I would be. If I was richer, I would be happy, right? We continuously do this.
Yes.
And
But I think
this
what
is
you were
it.
also experiencing at that time was, if I remember as well, was that you were starting to realize, and that's what the mirrors work teaches, is that we don't have to settle for this, that we are not our minds.
Yeah,
We can actually separate ourselves from the way that the mind thinks, and we can start to observe it.
yeah,
That we're not, because many we start out in life really thinking that this is just the way that I am. This is how I think. That my thoughts are real. That what I'm thinking about the world is real. What I think about other people is real. If I think that I'm a victim in the world, that's real, or that there are victims and perpetrators, that's real. But the mirrors work then teaches us, no, it's actually not. That there,
totally,
there is another way to think. And I think that's what you were starting to
totally,
experience, is that you could
totally.
actually take yourself, you could actually now start to question everything.
Yes, but it was even then on a very, what I can see now, very superficial level,
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of like you. I suppose I had all of the words on the outside that sounded really good, but I don't think I had fully. I didn't even understand what I would have to face actually inside of myself in
Yeah,
order to get to the place of acceptance. And I
yeah,
think that that's the key. I remember when I came to Vrindavan, right in the beginning, I thought, my God, I'm so in the wrong place here. Like, how can he put me in an ashram? I'm not that type of person. I'm not like a puja-ish type of person. I'm not like a rulesy type of person. I'm not like a boxed. I'm not good with these different types of things. And an ashram is quite systematic, and you have to be very what's the word, diligent and obey, and many of these things that I didn't have inside of me. I'm quite rebellious by nature.
yes. And that was your first confrontation with your stories about yourself when you first got
Yeah,
there. The very
yeah,
first layer was, I'm not this, and
yeah,
I'm not that, and
totally.
I'm not the other, or I am this, or I am that, and I'm the other. So
Yeah,
these are examples of the beliefs that we're saddled with and that we truly believe. But
totally.
you were there, so that meant,
And there was nothing I can do to, when you put in a certain situation, when the mind is confronted with itself, the next thing that it wants to do is run away, right? You want
yes,
to leave because you don't want
yes,
to face it. So I had a conversation with Guruji. It wasn't really a conversation. He spoke to me and he said to me at this darshan, he said a few words. He said, "You are in the right place.
mm-hmm.
You are here because you're meant to be here. Because everything that is inside of you will come out." And then
Yes,
he said, "Do you remember who you are?" And I just looked at him and he said, "Well, you'll find out."
Yes.
And this was a conversation that I kept on coming back to for the last 10 years. Because when he said everything inside of you will come out, it's not just all of the beautiful qualities that will come out eventually. For at least 8 years, it's every single thing you never wanted to see in yourself or accept about yourself. We keep them buried deep inside of ourselves, and we don't want to see essentially these demons because they
Yes.
are demons. They're demons of the mind. And the interesting thing is, for me, he made it a very physical thing, that these thoughts and these belief systems, to me, almost had a structure to it. And that helped me a lot in terms of understanding my own mind and understanding that when I believe something so strongly, not even from this lifetime, but from many different lifetimes that I have,
Mhm.
it's almost like you create the belief creates I don't know, an entity, right? That's inside of us, is that lives inside of us, that is like a physical structure that wants us to stay exactly how we are. And
Yes.
we can call it so many different things. We can call it entities, we can call it whatever. It's got many different names that you can call it. But in the end, what is it? It's a thought. And it's a thought that is so strong and so powerful that our personalities are literally built upon it.
Yes.
And
It's shaped. Our personalities are shaped by all
totally,
of these thoughts. Yes.
totally.
Absolutely.
And these are the thoughts that have to be re-looked at and rediscovered in order for us to become free and
Yes.
in order for us to become happy, because otherwise we're literally prisoners and victims, like you said, of
Mhm.
our own mental thought systems. And so, how I see it, it's a series, and many different it's years of coming into acceptance of oneself, right? Acceptance of one's belief systems, acceptance of one's thoughts. And when you're able to really accept yourself the way that you are and look at it, then you're able to change. But
Yes.
until
And
then,
yes.
you're not aware.
No, that's right. And once you understand that that we are put into situations in order to bring all of that up. Once we
Yeah,
understand that, then we can start to actually accept our life and accept adversity as it actually unfolds. Because
exactly.
because without adversity, without all these differing situations, it's not only adversity. There can also be some really wonderful situations that we're placed into that start to show us exactly who we are, because a situation will really impact us in such a way as to bring who we truly are to the surface, whether that's really negative or whether that's really positive. And that's
Yeah,
what Guruji was saying to you, is that no, you are
yeah,
in the right place. The story you're telling yourself is that you're not,
yeah,
but look at what's
yeah.
coming up for you.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I must say, in terms of failings, there was many, many more failings than anything else. If I look at my journey and if I see so much of the pain that I had, yes, I understand that everything is meant to be. I understand that. But actually, a lot of it was not necessary, I think, to a certain degree, because I was sometimes quite, I didn't want to look, I didn't want to see myself. It was too painful for me.
Can you give
And
us an example of that?
yeah, um, not so long ago, maybe 2, 3 years ago, there, after I got through a lot of series of things where I think Guruji, to a certain degree, placed me in this situation to in a way, completely collapse my personality, all the things that I think I am, everything, in order to be rebuilt again. That's kind of how I see it. And so in that process of rebuilding, I think I naturally here in India also, you become quite hard. You become quite tough because the environment is quite tough. I myself am, I don't think I am so much. I'm very direct and straightforward, but not so hard. And I think to a certain degree, there were incredible fears inside of me that I hadn't addressed at this point. So about 3 years ago, um, there was a few patterns that really got me into trouble. The one was people pleasing. That was a big one for me. And that one led me down a very intense road that I had to find my best way to come back again to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was an incredible fear of wanting to be liked by people. And this is the one that really was, I would say, one of the biggest lessons. There was somebody in the Sangha that on the outside, he hated me, really hated me. And I mean, a lot of people didn't like me. Um, it's normal, I think, to a certain degree, but I always found myself somebody, I always thought that I was very easy. And I always thought that I was very kind. And I always thought that I was like very easy to get along. But this person really had major issues with me. And I remember I went away and I thought I did an amazing job at bringing Sangha together and doing what I had to do. I don't want to give too many details. And I came back feeling really good about myself. And I was confronted a couple of months later about what a terrible job I did and how I caused people to be disturbed and people to be aggressive and people to be sad and people went into a depression because of my presence. I must have triggered something major inside of them, right? But it was literally completely not out of my, it was completely, I would like never, and my actions were not at all like that. So I must have really triggered something inside of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting part is what really got me here was when I was confronted with a huge amount of aggressiveness, I defended myself. I wasn't able to deal and take it on myself. I wasn't able to be mature about it because I was so deeply hurt that somebody could think that I would on purpose hurt somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so humility was not even an option on the cards where I could say, I'm sorry if I caused you pain. I really didn't mean it. Please forgive me. I I don't know how I could have done something like that, but let's talk about it and please forgive me if I did something like that, consciously or unconsciously. That wasn't possible for me because I was so deeply insecure and so incredibly fearful of being confronted with that much aggression. I
Yes.
didn't know how to deal. And so inside of me, I literally shut down. I pretended that it didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of addressing the situation head on, going to the people, having a conversation about it like a normal person, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
now I would phone them up and say, hey, Jay Gurudev, I'm so sorry that you feel this way. Let's speak about it. What did I do?
Yes.
Forgive me if I did something wrong. But because of this incredible fear inside of me of being wrong, of making mistakes, of being judged, of not being perfect, of having to be a certain way, of what happens if I'm not good enough, what happens, well, basically, I just didn't feel good enough about myself.
Mm-hmm.
This went on. I shut it down. And this went on then 3 years. And then, of course, people started to speak about me. Things traveled, gossip happened, all of this stuff. So now, instead of a tiny, tiny little issue that could have been resolved straight away by me being humble and saying, I'm so sorry, is now big, big. And I'm a big, big monster, right? And and it was so, I just did my best, like, not to be involved. But of course, I had feelings inside of me like, this person is crazy and they don't know what they're talking about. And how is it possible? And it can't be like that because I'm not like that. They don't know me at all. Like all of these things and justifications and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I remember they went and they spoke to Guruji about it, and Guruji gave me a lot of time to deal with it. He never mentioned it to me. He never said a word to me. He's not shy. He would
Mm.
have called me aside and said, "What's going on? Like, what's happening?" But he never did. He actually said, "I trust her to deal with it,"
Hmm.
that I wasn't able to deal with it. And so
But do
what
you
happened?
also, know now that he also, whatever was happening with you, was also part of other people's learning, and
Of course,
he was also wanting them to
of
deal
course,
to
of
deal
course.
with
And I
their
was
end of
also
things.
aware. I
Yes,
was fully aware that I was right there bringing up everybody's negativity.
yes,
It's terrible being in the middle of all of that stuff.
yeah.
But I mean, that's, you
That
know,
nobody that there was nobody who was right in this
for
situation.
sure,
Everybody
for
had
sure.
something to look at. So through all of your negative behaviors, whatever it was that they were seeing in you and experiencing,
Of course.
and all of the emotional stuff that was coming up for them was their own stuff in the end. So they couldn't.
100%.
So it wasn't like you were really this big demon, but you were also
No,
just triggering their own stuff as well.
100%. And I even remember having a dream about it before. I mean, Guruji like let me know, like, be strong. But
Hmm.
anyway, it doesn't matter because in the end, the only person that I need to look at is me. And
Yeah.
I I never I could not fully comprehend the amount of fear that was inside of me, the fear of being judged, the fear of letting somebody down, the fear of being face to face, told how terrible I am. But the biggest thing is I wasn't able to be humble because I wasn't confident in myself.
Hmm.
And so 2 years goes by, many different things happen. And again, now the situation has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And Guruji was going to come for Guru Purnima. And just before this happens, sorry, it was holy. Just before this happens, out of the blue, somebody blames me for something that I didn't do. But no, no. What happened was it was Vishwaguru. And at Vishwaguru, I um I could see my ego and I could see how it was so attached to wanting to be this good girl on the outside, having to do so many different things for Guruji, having to be something. I wanted so badly to be something. I wasn't good enough just to be myself. I really felt the need to prove myself. I really needed to be something. I should have already been a rishi by then. I should have already been a swami by then. I should have already been something by then.
And that's
I've been
what we
here
all do,
for so
don't we?
long.
We all
Yeah,
play it.
yeah,
At first, we play it spirituality until
yeah,
Guruji even beat that down. So
yeah,
we know what the rules are, and so we start to put on
yeah.
almost like airs and graces about, if I do the right thing, say the right thing, wear the
Then I
right
will
clothes.
become something. Then I
Yes,
will get rewarded. And
yes.
so all of these things, and I think it was such a tough time, and I felt so unbelievably rejected on the outside by him because, you know, I was basically managing the ashram, doing so many things, but I was getting zero acknowledgement for all of the work that I was putting in. And I wanted it. I wanted him to say, "Well done, Hiranmai. Do like You're such a good girl. I wanted it from him. And of course, I didn't get anything from him, which made me super frustrated. And I wrote him a letter. And in this letter, I said to him that I'm so sick of my own self. And I don't want any recognition from the outside. I'm not interested in anything. I don't want any bit of my own self-worth to be attached to anything from the outside.
Mhm.
I want it only to be from the inside because otherwise it's fleeting and I can't live a life like that.
Mhm.
And well, did I get an answer from him? He screamed and shouted at me. He was in a satsang and thank God, he didn't say my name, but I mean, I'm
Mhm.
quite surprised he didn't say my name. And then I went into 21 days of silence.
You didn't say your name because that was also for everybody,
Well,
not
that's
just
nice.
you. Yeah. Yes.
And
Everybody who
then,
was there needed to own that as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I went into 21 days of silence after that. And in that 21 days of silence,
Mhm.
I really looked at myself and I looked at the relationships in my life. At this point, there was maybe two relationships that really bothered me. Um, and I wanted there to be love again. I wanted there to be peace again. I wanted these things so badly, actually, you know? I really did. And I must say that's one thing that I've always had. Like I've always had an incredible drive to be better internally, not necessarily externally. So whatever it takes, like I want it badly enough to go through whatever it needs to go through. I need to go through. And so I sat and I could see this war that was inside of me. I actually wrote a poem about it. God, I wrote so much poetry during this time. But I could see a war and I could understand that this war was going on because I'm still playing the game, because I'm still in the war. And if I'm not retaliating, there's no more war left. And I literally decided inside of myself that whatever happens, I'm not going to be in a war anymore. I'm not going to play anymore. I
And what does
don't want
that
to
mean?
play that game. I'm not going to retaliate. Meaning, if somebody comes with something, right? It's all vibrational. If somebody comes with a huge amount of aggression, right? Even if I retaliate internally to it, I am retaliating. I
Mhm.
am reacting, which is causing more aggression to go on the outside, and everybody can feel it.
And what does the mirrors work say you ought to do with that?
That the only thing to look at is me, that
Mhm.
there's nobody else but me. And so, in terms of this person that I had an issue with, what I could see is that from myself, what I so badly was trying to do is I was trying to prove to that person that I'm good enough. That's why we had an issue. And that person, I think, also wanted from me recognition on, how
Mhm.
amazing they are, which they are.
Mhm.
But I wasn't able to do that because of that humility thing. It wasn't there yet, right? I still had to prove it. And when you have to prove yourself, this facade is still there. It's
Yes.
like it has to get ripped from you.
Mhm.
And so I understood very firmly inside of me that no matter what comes at me, I am not going to retaliate internally, externally, in every possible way. I'm not going to. And I'm not going to play the game. I'm going to love.
Mhm.
And I sat and I looked at many different patterns of myself and the insecurity that I have and all of these different things. And then the test came afterwards, after the silence. And the test came, which was absolutely no joke. So somebody came and had a huge problem with me and said something that even I didn't do, which shouldn't matter. What difference does it make what I do or what I don't do, right? But I still wasn't able to follow through fully because I defended myself. I said, no, it's not like that. I didn't do it like this. I didn't do it like that. I defended myself.
Can you explain to the viewer why that's important? Because what does defending do?
Right.
You
So
know,
if you defend something inside of you, it means there's many different layers. So the first thing is if you come to me with, Hiranmai, you are an absolute,
mm,
you're so lazy. You never wake up on time. And I'm like, no, I'm not. How can you say that to me? I woke up yesterday on time and the day before time. And last week I woke up on time. And so if I am defending myself, it means that there's a belief system inside of me that that I still believe, right? And
yeah,
this belief system inside of me can be something like, I'm a lazy person and I'm a lazy person and I'm not good enough in my seva, let's say. I'm a lazy person and I'm not able to fulfill things for Guruji. I'm a lazy person and I'm not able to do my best, right? There's a belief system that's there. Now, if I'm okay with myself, I'm a lazy person. Yes, I am. I'm a lazy person. And what does that mean about me? It doesn't mean anything about me. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do a good job. It doesn't mean that I'm a terrible person. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad devotee of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. It doesn't mean all of the things that my mind associates it with.
yeah,
It means that right now I can be lazy. Yeah, yeah. All
mm,
right. And if it doesn't mean anything about me, then I can also choose in the next moment, all right, let's see if maybe I should push myself a little bit and I can go to gym. Okay, why not? But what the mind does is it takes everything and it makes it personal. It makes
mm,
it personal. So when it hurts is when it's personal and when the mind has associated a truth to this belief system. I'm a
yeah,
lazy person and I will never be able to succeed. I'm a lazy person and I will never be able to be a good devotee of Guruji,
yeah,
whatever, as an
mhm,
example, right? And so when that belief system comes and when I really believe it, what's the first thing that's going to happen? I'm going to defend it. No, I'm not. How dare you say that about me? Well, you should see yourself. You're such a lazy person, right? And then you throw back and forth, and that's the
but you're
war.
also defending the personality, the built-up personality, which is not real, and you're
Right.
maintaining your identification with that personality as
Yeah,
well. So
exactly.
defending is it stops us from growing because we're not seeing the mirror of what somebody is saying, and or if we do see it, we're batting it away and saying, I don't want to look at that, and so we can't move forward. But if we look at when somebody calls us names or is unkind, and we accept it for what it is, and we say, okay, this is just a mirror of something that I need to look at within myself that I cannot see. Maybe I can't see the laziness, maybe I can't see the unkindness, but if I meditate on it and really look for it, look for the evidence of it, then I can see it, and then I can actually do something about that, whatever my
Right.
thoughts around it are. For you, your thoughts are, I can accept this as part of who I am. For somebody else, it might be, I need to change this.
Yeah,
But we can only change things when we're not defending. So defense
exactly.
is actually very, very hard for us. It keeps us stuck when we're
It
defending.
does. It
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
And so I was defensive. And
mhm,
of course, it goes to Guruji. And Guruji was so upset. My God, he
mhm,
was so upset. And he was so upset with me. And it was a very polite message that I wrote. Believe me, it was very nice. But he wanted me, what he wanted from me is not to write a polite message of
mhm,
the facts and explain myself and defend myself.
mhm.
He wanted me to pick up the phone and to love the person.
mm,
That's what he wanted me to do.
mm. And to
And that's
thank,
what I could see,
yeah.
right? To love
Mm,
the person, to thank the person, to
mm,
be able to acknowledge the pain that somebody is going through,
mm,
to not be bothered. What does it make a difference whether I did or I didn't, or whatever the story is? It's not about that, but it's about listening. It's about what I understand is also to being able to be humble, to apologize
mhm.
when you see that you have caused harm to a person. It doesn't make a difference either way, right?
Yes.
So I wasn't able to do that. And so literally, I remember a moment, suddenly the dark clouds came over and I could feel, holy crap, everything has turned and he is going to kill me. And I knew it. I literally knew it. And Guruji was coming in a few days to India. It was perfectly planned.
Mm,
And so I remember during this time, right, from the time I wrote him a message, even a friend of mine, she had a dream. And in this dream, Guruji was Nrsimha, and he comes and like in his fullness, and he screams, Hiranmai! And he comes and he grabs me and he puts me over his knee and he rips me to pieces. And I was like, oh my God, it's coming for me. And I knew it was coming for me. Well, he didn't even wait 1 second while being there and publicly, only publicly, he does it for me. He screams in front of everybody. Yeah. But it was such an incredible learning. I mean, it was for all of us. I get that. But it's got to be somebody to um, to do all of this. You know, we all have turns, I suppose.
mhm.
And so um, he was speaking about the one thing he was speaking about is not is when you wear clothes, certain color clothes, it's not about you, it's about everybody else. So that humility,
Yeah.
and also about yeah, about putting him first in everything. And speaking with kindness, being kind to people, not being right. Do you remember that text? It was a big text in one of his tweets. It was around this time. Being
Yes.
kind, not right. It doesn't make a difference whether you're right. It's about being kind. And I think that was the major thing that he really wanted to show me. And what he was doing was he broke me, actually. He screamed at me from morning to night for about 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And after he left, I was like, thank God. Even while he was leaving, he was looking at me when he walked out, and he just looked at me with daggers, like I'm the worst human being on the planet. And when he left, I remember sitting in my room and I was crying. And I thought to myself, everything I thought about myself doesn't seem to be true. That if he wants me to be this person that he wants me to be, that means everything inside of me has to change.
Mhm.
And I remember I phoned two people and I apologized to them, you know, and I said to them, you know, I told them that I was really fearful. And I spoke to them about the situation.
Mhm.
And I think that that's what Guruji wanted from me. He wanted me to be able to confront my own self, my own fears, my own everything, my own insecurities. That's all it was about. It wasn't about anybody else.
Mhm.
And then what he wanted is I needed to get to the back. I was so much in the forefront of everything, of the Sangha, of everything. And I think it was really my time to go inwards and to really fix so many, it's not so many, but some small bits that was missing inside of me. Some vital bits of I have to be XYZ in order to be loved. I
Mhm.
have to be this person in order to be loved. I have to be like that person in order to be loved by him. by all of these different situations. I have to be like that in order to be important and special. And what I understood, this took me about a year. I phoned you in the beginning of it. And I remember you told me to write down all of the things that Guruji said to me, all of the things that everybody said to me, and just to see how it's true. And it was so much easier just to take all of it and say, yes, it is true. It is true. Instead of having these masks that we have to defend ourselves and say, no, I don't want to see it. What are we? There's so much more pain in that than
It's
just
and it's so
looking at ourselves.
liberating to own it.
Totally,
So
totally,
liberating.
totally. And
Yeah.
what it brought me to, which I'm telling you, the great gratitude inside of me, I can't even tell you. What it brought me to is I don't need to be anything.
Yes.
That's where he was taking me. I don't need to be anything for anybody. I don't need to be anything on the outside. I don't need to be important and special for anybody, for anything. It is irrelevant of whatever I do on the outside. It has got nothing to do with my own worth.
And that's
And
the important, that's what's so important about unraveling. It's like
yes,
you're finally, I mean, he just almost like cut that final string, finally
yeah,
unraveling yourself from the ego, from the grip of the ego.
exactly.
Because you
Because
stop
it does.
role
It
playing. You
wants to
stop
be
role
so
playing.
important, so special,
Yes.
so everything, so everything. And if we're okay with not being it, I understand that it's a lot of work. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing to lose, there's nothing to gain, there's nothing to anything. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything about me. And so at the end of the year, so I did a lot, and in this time, a lot of people he told to come to Pandapur. I wasn't invited to Pandapur to see
Mm-hmm.
him. And I was already in the place, thank God, that I didn't take it as an insult. He doesn't want to see me. He doesn't love me. He doesn't any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, well, it's not the right time to see him. And that's it. I got stuff to do here in the ashram. And so already it wasn't like that. And when I saw him this time in Vrindavan, because I had to wait a whole another year, maybe a little bit more, to see him, oh my God, the transformation in 1 year, what
Mm-hmm.
he did, he freed me. He
Yes.
freed me. I can cry. I can't even tell you what he
Mm-hmm.
did.
Yeah.
And it was all of that, all of these things that were holding me back that was so painful
Yes.
that when I saw him, I didn't need to prove anything to him. To
Yeah.
him. I
Yes.
didn't need to be around him. I didn't need to be important or special to him. I didn't need to be in the kitchen with him. I didn't feel like I needed to be acknowledged by him. And he was continuously testing me on it, continuously.
Yes.
And thank God I was just able to be happy. I was just happy being where I was, being with people, doing my thing,
Mm-hmm.
not looking for anything really. And
Yeah.
that was because of the work. That
Yes.
was because I was able to let go these patterns of I need to be something in order to be special.
Yeah. And can you explain to the listener um, what has shifted from the time, from the time of all of your struggles with, with Guruji's teachings and you being in the ashram and all the changes that you went through? What was the perspective shift that you needed to go through so that now, because obviously life goes on and you've made the big shift, but we all know that there's always going to be conflict, there's always going to be adversity, there's always going to be stuff that's going to happen. So from this most recent shift, and with that, I must say as well, with that shift also came your rishi status as well. So that
Yeah.
was That was
He
almost
was
like
waiting for
the
that for
physical
me.
manifestation of your shift.
Yeah.
But so while you were in yellow, what was your perspective shift to now? So how what's different? Because we want the listener to be able to see, you've throughout of this, you've applied all the mirrors principles, which all come from Guruji's teachings, and you've applied them.
The
And
shift.
yeah,
So the major
how do you
shift.
see things differently now from before?
Okay. So it
Mm,
it was, look, the major shift is
mm,
this. It has got nothing to do with color of clothing. It has got nothing to do with anything on the outside. One's happiness and who we are, each one of us is so individually special.
mhm,
And when we accept ourselves the way that we are in alignment with ourselves. We're in alignment with Guruji and his teachings. And when we are insincere and we try to prove and try to be somebody, it doesn't work. It is irrelevant whether you are in an ashram or not an ashram, whether you are in red, orange, yellow, silver, or purple. The person that is inside of you, that is the only part to focus on and to transform that. You can be in purple, you can be in orange, you can be in red. If your inner self doesn't change, all of this is worthless.
yes,
That's
and
what it's about.
taking that outside of the ashram for people who are watching this, we're all born, and it's almost as if we're constantly learning how to be insincere, because we have to learn to please our parents in a certain way. We have to learn how to, you know what it means to get a great job, and how we have to behave in order to maintain, our status in the corporate world. So we're constantly playing roles. We have to be thin to be accepted. All everything that we see on Instagram, we're always looking at Instagram and saying, oh, I need to be a better cook, I need to be a better wife or a husband, or
Yeah.
whatever. So we're constantly learning how to play a role so that we can be happy. So we're all insincere.
We're
Okay.
all
But
insincere.
as you say, the way to is to accept all of that. We come in to Guruji's field, and he doesn't want any of those lies anymore, because we are so much more than the lie.
That's it. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong. That's the thing. In our minds, it's like these terrible demons. But
Mm.
when you face it, it's just a thought.
Yes.
It's just a
Yeah.
thought.
And we find it
It's
so painful when
it is.
when it's pointed out, when awful
Yes.
things are pointed out to us, when awful things are mirrored back to us. We find it
Yes.
so painful. But if you learn how to look at it differently, and that's part of the perspective shift, because the
Yeah.
mirrors work says anything that happens is just a mirror, and it's not there to punish you, it's there to liberate you. Because that once you see yourself, it means you can stop play acting and say,
Yeah.
oh, I don't, as you said, it was so beautiful that now you didn't have to please Guruji. You didn't have to please people around you. You could just be you
Yeah.
in your
And
authenticity.
that's
Yeah.
the point.
Yes.
That's the point. Many years ago, I
Mm.
remember him saying that to me. He just kept on saying, just be yourself. Just remember who you are. Just
Yes.
be yourself.
Yes.
And it's impossible to be yourself when you are trying so hard to be
Mm.
something, to prove something, to prove your own self-worth. It's impossible.
Well, because we bring our ego even into our spiritual life, and
Fully.
and we start to dress in a certain way, like to prove we're this. A lot of people will wear the tilak for reasons other than they ought to
But
be
that's
wearing
it.
it.
That's
To
the
say
thing.
this is my new identity. So instead of instead of buying Gucci handbags, we're now we're wearing things around our neck. We're wearing Tulsi
Right.
necklaces, and without the real authenticity of the inner
So
shifts.
it doesn't make a difference what it looks like on the outside. I think he
Yeah.
trying to say if he said that to me. It
Mm.
is it it is inside. The inside has to change. So
Yeah.
if an uncomfortable situation happened yesterday,
Mhm.
um, my back was out. That was one thing. So already I was not feeling great physically. There's a leak, and I have told you I have no bathroom. We have no kitchen. I'm sharing with the girls, which I love them. It doesn't bother me. But we're washing everything. It's like not a very convenient place to be. And there's continuous banging and drilling and everything all the time. Now, either I can think that, oh, it shouldn't be like that. It's a terrible place to be. It's not meant to be like that. The drilling has to stop. This has to stop. It's meant to be peaceful. Or I can accept it the way it is, knowing that it has to be how it is going to be, and I can choose to be happy, right? That choice is up to me. And so every single minute of every single day, I'm choosing. Somebody made a mistake yesterday, which is why the situation is like that. A mistake, we'll say, yeah, because everybody's also learning. And so what? I'm going to get angry with the person? No, they're also learning, just like we're all learning. Everybody's in their own process. And
Yes.
so we're here. I see that we're all here to be with each other and to support each other and to love each other through whatever it is that we're going through, knowing that we're going to live out our belief systems until we don't live them out anymore.
Yeah.
So either I'm going to be upset, angry, whatever about it, or I'm going to laugh about it, which I did, joke about it, which we all killed ourselves laughing,
Mm.
and move on, and be happy and do what I have to do. So where is my focus? I
Mm.
have the ability to choose where my focus is going to be and to choose peace over everything else.
And you
And
said
to
earlier that Guruji says he just wants you to put him first. And that's what is central to the mirrors work. Put Guruji first. Because when you are looking at yourself in every situation and you're working on that transformation, you're honoring him. You're honoring the fact that he's your guru, and that's what he's come here to do for you. Because
yeah,
because as you make the effort, so he puts everything behind that effort.
yeah.
So yeah. So what did all of that? How do you bring that into it now? How do you bring those words that he said to you into your life now?
You mean to be happy?
To
Those
put him first
to put him
in
first.
every interaction. Yeah.
Well, that's it. If I look at every single person, if
Mm,
if I think something should be different, I'm
mm,
not putting him first because I have to acknowledge every single person in my life. Every single person is actually a reflection of Guruji,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
And so if somebody is going to scream at me, shout at me, have a problem with me, do this with me, do that with me, I
Hmm.
can call it in 100 different ways, but essentially he's trying to teach me something. That's
Yeah.
what it's about. And either I'm going to listen to him or I'm going to ignore it, defend, and say, oh, it shouldn't be like this. That person shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like this.
Mhm.
That person has a problem and
Mm.
make a whole bunch of drama,
Yeah.
right?
Because
And
we're
I think,
arguing, because we're basically arguing. But when we argue with our situation, when we criticize, that when we say things like it shouldn't be, and we're constant, or we're saying that this person shouldn't be this way, I shouldn't have met so and so, particularly people who are in abusive relationships. They say this shouldn't have happened because I'm a good person. Whenever we say any of those things, we are arguing with God.
basically,
We are saying that Guruji is wrong for having
yeah,
done this, telling him how to do his job,
basically.
essentially. Okay, Hirami, it's been wonderful listening to your stories, and I think it's really helpful for a lot of people who are actually listening to this. What would you say to them about, you know, as they embark upon the mirrors work journey themselves? What advice would you give to people?
Mm. So Guruji puts it, he made a tweet the other day that I think is really amazing. I'll read it to you. I have it here. So he says, many people on the spiritual path become very confused about what their thoughts and opinions should be. This question is very simple to answer. You should have absolutely firm opinions, thoughts, and feelings about one thing and one thing only, about how you are supposed to be on the inside. That's all. The rest is all to be left at the lotus feet of the Satguru. How others should be on the inside, how they should act on the outside, what your external life should look like, how your relationship with the divine should unfold, all of this should be left at the Satguru's feet. You have absolutely no rights to have opinions about others, inner states, or anyone's outer circumstances, including your own. The Satguru is creating the perfect circumstances in everyone's life to reach him. You only need to continuously work on your inner state of being.
Yes.
So
Fantastic. Yeah.
that is the work, because so in every single situation we look on the outside how other people should be, how they should be fixed, how the situation should be, how the situation should be fixed. Our minds are continuously being drawn on the outside, and we find criticism and negativity continuously about it. And so that's where our mind sits.
Yeah.
And what he's essentially saying, besides wasting our own time, that the only thing we ever need to be concerned about is, how does that affect me? How do
Yes.
I feel about it? What do I need to change inside of me? What does he want me to change? And when we really are able to do that, that's where the major transformation happens. But when we're continuously looking on the outside to change, it will never happen. It will never happen.
Yeah.
And
No.
so that is the mirror's work. That is the work that we have to all do within our oneselves. That's what Guruji is saying. Change your mind.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
what he wants. We can do Atmakriya yoga until we're blue in the face. We can chant from morning to night. We can do Om chanting as much as we want. But until we are ready to face our own negativity and patterns and really say, okay, I want to be different. I want to be this beautiful rose that everybody smells the sweetness when I walk into the room. And if everybody smells a stink, right, and it's smelly, that has to do with me. If everybody's fighting with me, that has to do with me. Like, there's nobody else there but me. And so we have to get to the point where we say, okay, maybe there's something to change.
Absolutely. And you know, around me, I could not have said it better. And I'm the Mirrors Work facilitator. So thank you so much for your wonderful sage advice. I can see Guruji's done an amazing job with you, helping
Oh,
to
I think
remove
it's really
all that
just the
fluff.
beginning here, but
Yeah,
I'm
we're always at the beginning, aren't we? And
yeah.
even though we'd like to think otherwise, but you know, but thank you so much, Hirami, and
Thank
it's
you.
really been invaluable. And I know that people who are listening are really going to get a lot from this. So
Good.
thanks again, and Jai Gurudev.
Take your day. Thank you for having me.